Good morning to you, or
Oh,
good, yeah.
geez, sorry. I was
If
just
you're going to be
whacking Ted.
if you're going to be recording this, you may want to bring the blind down a little bit
Okay.
in the back. And I
Yeah,
couldn't help myself.
trying to keep a little light in here, but that's okay. Oh, geez. Oh, it's like
If you
really weird
want,
lighting. Oh, whatever.
I have you to thank for the color because I thought, you know what, Dana's got a point. I'm going to go back to frankincense for a bit.
Oh,
Well,
is it burning? You might
well,
have too much in the oil.
you probably have gotten to know me well enough. So I have the couple drops in olive oil. Actually, I have it on right now, but I thought this is going to take forever. So
Oh,
five,
I didn't
five,
realize it was your cheeks. I thought it was a couple of spots on your
all right.
head.
So 5 hours of applying straight. That's what I used to do, just straight up frankincense, and it
That
worked.
burns like crazy, though. I tried that too.
Yeah, but it worked. So we'll I
See how
look
it
like I got
goes.
some sun,
Yeah.
but it was pretty effective.
No, my computer decided to fry halfway through recording all those. There's 27 parts. It's like, yeah, my brand new computer I just got in June. I turn it on, I can hear the motor running, but it won't engage the monitor. So I tested the monitor's fine. So then I called the warranty people and they recorded everything and sent me to HP because it's not even a year old and they don't even recognize the serial number. So I had to give up because I was losing it. Yeah, it's action packed. Not
So I
really
mean,
action packed, but just really a lot of parts at once. A lot of parts. I was
do
like, oh
you,
my God.
do you have your stuff on an external hard drive?
Yeah, yeah, all the information is fine. I just have can only use my laptop now. And I prefer to be in my office because it's just more comfortable. But anyhow,
Can you get a new computer?
I hope so. Yeah, or have them repaired or something. It's not even 4 months old, so yeah. And I was thinking it might even be a blessing in disguise because maybe I'll get a Mac. And then I can use the software that you keep recommending for that endless
Oh,
whiteboard.
Lord.
But I was praying so hard that night and well for about a month now, it's like it would just freeze when I'm in the middle of making a movie or a video. And I would have to shut it down, restart it, and it would reboot. And it did that again a couple times this week, and it just wouldn't engage the monitor. Nothing is coming through. I don't even know how to test it. So that's what I was doing yesterday. And I was kind of like in mental overload, but for some reason my part wanted just to make the call. So I spent about an hour chatting with a woman. And like I said, I wound up having to go to HP anyway, and I put my serial number in and it comes up with something completely else. So I'm like, I got to start the process all over and see what happens. But yeah, I bought a 2 year service warranty on it and all that, but because it's in the first year, it has to go through the manufacturer. So, and when I buy stuff, I don't register it because when you do that, it gives them ownership over it legally. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. Why do I need to register it with you? It's mine. Anyway,
Yeah, that's right.
so I'll have the warranty people contact HP and go from there. I'll just had to put that on pause because I got to a point of frustration. But I guess I'll start with the journals. Oh,
Yeah, and okay, we've got a whole
well,
lot of stuff.
I'll start with something else real super quick. I happened to see an access van drive past me as I was driving, and I noticed on the bottom corner that there was this, but I couldn't get it because I was driving. And ironically, when I got to the store, it was probably a completely different one, but it's sitting in front of the store. So I took a picture of it.
Good.
And you know what's funny? StarCraft. My
StarCraft.
mother's stepfather worked for StarCraft. They made boats back in the day. Maybe they made other stuff too. I don't know. But I was like, wow, StarCraft. But I looked this company up. They are worldwide, John. Worldwide. Buses, vans, any and every kind of transportation you can imagine. Worldwide. So I guess that's just their Department of Transportation in California numbers. But this company, and it's funny because when you first open up their webpage, it shows you the ratings that the employees give it, and it's the satisfaction of their employees below average, stress levels, average. Would you recommend below average? So even their employees think it's a crappy company.
Wow.
I was like, oh, and I need to ask you something. I was going through a session we did to get it ready for the channels. And it's that one where you're showing me the parts map where the girl put it in AI, the all the little
Yes.
black
Yes.
characters. Now you said her name and I beeped it out, but the problem is her name is on that map. Should I block that just her name out the top thing, or should I blur the whole thing?
No. Her name is on it.
Yeah, it starts with a SH or something. I forget what it is.
Oh, that's not her name.
It's not. So, and that's okay for me to air
You
that.
mean the one with the AI?
Yeah, yeah. Well, she had
This
it with, her own drawings first and then
Yes. No, that is not her name, and she's given me permission. So you're
okay, so
good.
I don't even need to beep out her name then.
No, no, no.
Okay, what's on there?
Those
I
are
don't know.
just different of her parts
Okay, good. Just making
names.
sure. Yeah, I didn't want
You're
her to
very
maybe
sweet. I
see it.
started to get worried about
I
myself.
didn't want her to maybe see it and then feel like you betrayed her or
No, that's
something.
right. I
So I was
appreciate that
like,
very much.
as long as I have permission, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, she actually gave me permission to go ahead and
I thought so, but I just wanted to double check.
you're
And then
awfully kind.
another couple things. I don't know if you know this, but Trump, this is from his book, The Way to the Top, Donald Trump's book. And I don't know what page this is on, but I took a screenshot off of a video. It says, one day when my Kabbalah teacher, Etienne Yardeni, asked how I was doing, I told him I needed a break. I was thoroughly exhausted, overwhelmed, and overworked. Etienne then said, do you know what I think you should do? I thought he was going to encourage me to take some time off, but instead he replied, no, go to work harder. Be careful what you ask for because you may get it. I guess I should do that. So I just wanted you to be aware, Trump practices Kabbalah. Okay, I know Chris is a Trump fan, all that, but
Here's the only way I can explain Trump because you look at what he's doing and you look at the
well,
opposition.
and I
And
know,
I
but
think
I wonder about that.
I was very worried about I had never voted for him up until, you
Yeah,
know,
I haven't voted for
it
probably
was
three,
either
four
Trump or
elections.
Hillary, and I
Yeah, but he's very much, and this is from the Israeli National News. It's not an American paper, it's an Israeli paper. He's very in bed with the Jewish community. So, and I could show you probably 50 different images of him doing the signs and symbols, the all that stuff. So I know that you said he's got that Pentagon pedophile investigation thing, and he might be doing some good things, but I just wonder
yeah.
because of all
Oh,
that.
that's right.
Anyway.
That's right.
So
That's
anyway,
right.
that's politics. We don't need to talk about that. Just
No,
want you to be aware.
it's
Um,
important. It's important.
okay. So the 8th. Okay, and here's where all this began. It says, so I'm just going to assume that there's a part named Cough who split off from Hands. Let me move this. You're very welcome to come and talk with me, and you're very welcome to come and live in Lake City with all the rest of your family. We will love you and care for you and let you grow to be peaceful, happy, and joyful. I said, and And the parts that split off of Jackie, you are very welcome to come and talk to me, and you're welcome to come and live in Lake City, and I'll, oh man, um, with all the rest of your family, love you, care for you, let you grow and be peaceful, happy, and joyful. And I said, all parts that I have not discovered yet. I'm eager to get to know you and hear your experiences. Love you, care for you, and let you grow to be peaceful, happy, and joyful. You do not have to remain in your prison anymore. Your home is here with us, and we love you. So then Cough piped up. Cough is telling me that the man, meaning Dad, is poking her inside. Let me do this again, and she is screaming, and her arms and legs are kicking and flailing around. Then all of a sudden, my lungs hurt and my chest is pushing hard to push it out. I'm coughing very badly and my head is spinning. Things are not the same. I want the poking to stop. Now I cannot breathe. My lungs and my head hurt. There's energy moving all over my body. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It hurts. It hurts. I can't fight. I can't see. I can't breathe. My whole body hurts. Cough, cough. My eyes, my nose, and my mouth are all running, and I am wet. Mama comes in, but I push her hands away too. I don't want to be touched. I am kicking and hitting. Mama comes, Daddy goes. I'm still kicking and hitting. Mama makes me dry. Mama strokes my hair. Things are better now. I don't like the man. So it's like when I invited her to come and talk to me, she did. I was like, wow, okay, that's cool. And then the next day, I think this was, I mixed up it might be the 9th or 10th, but I have the wrong. So that night, as I was laying, I said, we blew up the prisons of Holly, Summer, Aspen, Colleen, Ginger, Tom, and Tina, the last 7. At that point was the last 7. Then we had a really great parts puddle. They all changed clothes, put on a white robe, and they can pick out whatever they want to wear anywhere in the world except satanic or sexual things. They're all very happy to have blown up their prisons and having a new place to live in Lake City or here with me in the present. So I think a little time passed, and all of a sudden I was thinking about all these splits off of current parts. Julie's like, well, Julie split into Jojo, Skylar split into Jaybird, and they're just throwing these names at me.
Wow.
Sam split into Rocket, Jackie split into Bluebird and Ferret, Susan into Sparkle, because then I started thinking about Snake with the little crystal above. Susan split into Sparkle. Lindsay split into Light, Shutter, Shake, and Bam. Bam,
Anna, do you know who was giving you this information?
each one, because all of these parts on the left are
Yeah.
already co-conscious with me. And now that they know I'm willing to look at the secondary splits, they're
Yeah.
like, okay, here you go. It was like hurrying up, trying to
So
dictate.
Sam gave you that information. Jackie gave you hers.
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah, yeah.
No, they're all, to your credit, they're all cooperating.
Yeah, and this one that she only gave me the 3, but when I sat down to record it in my paperwork, I realized she's like, no, there's another one. There's Bam. I was like, okay, so I just added it into the journal, but it was about a day later. Catherine into James, Sarah into Vomit.
Uh,
And then another, so there's a part called Mirror, and it took a few moments. And so, oh, that was a split off of Alexi.
okay.
Tate into Tear, Terror, Torment, and Fury. And actually, there's a 5th one
Oh gosh.
that I discovered this morning, and I'll put it on here because it comes first. Time, Tears, Terror, Torment, and Fury. Livy into Dragon, Eden into Carl and Song and Verse.
Oh gosh, that one's obviously going to be connected to
The
religious.
huh? No,
There.
that was the mobster thing with having to sing that song correctly with the wrong words,
Okay,
and
okay.
then being banged on the head and having to
Oh
pretend
gosh.
I'm a horse
Yeah.
while they're singing the verse of the Love Shack.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's what that was, yeah.
Oh gosh.
So it's summer with, and then I'm like, okay, are there any more? and I'm listening. I'm a little nervous and anxious that there's going to be more, but there wasn't. I'm like, sorry guys, I'm not avoiding, I'm not pushing down, I'm just overwhelmed right now. And they're like, okay, no, that's good. So so now Summer starts telling me Summer was required to perform witchcraft and call down demons. Now this is the girl where my boyfriend in Germany trafficked me. We're staying in those three different houses, 3 different nights. And Summer was the one that was the second house. First house was where I was treated like a dog and put in the basement. The second house was where I thought a baby was cut up, but no, I had to cut up the baby. That was called chop.
Bless your heart.
And then after that, the 2 men, Dave and the guy who owned the house, started having sex together. And I was given a sexy outfit to put on, and I was made to whip them. And well, no, before that, so I had to like do the baby, and then I had to call down demons. So there's 3 parts. There's Chop and Mistress and Summer. And I'm not sure Summer's role, but and I also figured out something else is all the parts up until this week were the primary parts. But when they were telling me this, remember I told you it sounded like narration being told to me.
Yeah.
What they were doing was giving me, okay, here's the primary part. We're not going to give you the secondaries and the backups. Here's the primary part. We're going to give you the story for all of them together. And so that's why I thought that those parts were full and complete. But I'm realizing now, Summer's story, I got the whole story, but there's different parts. So it's like whoever the narrator is in there, that's how they present it in a big chunk. And then now they're telling me, well, this is where the primary stepped in, this is with the secondary, etc.
It'll be interesting if whoever the narrator is, if they would finally tell you who they found.
I'm thinking it's got to be either file clerk or Connor, because Connor is in charge of all the parts, and Lily, the file clerk, stores all the information. So Lily, they're the 2 that know all the parts in full. Unless there is yet another part. I don't know. But yeah.
What do you sense from Connor right now? What is he?
He says he's not the narrator, but yeah, he
Oh,
knows all the parts.
does he know? Is it file clerk? No.
And she says no, she just stores everything. So that leads me to think it might be Juliet, who is the communicator to all the parts.
Okay, what is she saying then right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that was
Which
nice.
is what I thought months and months ago, but I never got clarity. But yeah, she's the narrator because she's the communications director. And so yeah, she's gonna communicate to me, well, to you, because you're another part, Jon, the part
That's right.
Jon.
That's right.
So, and because you and I are co-conscious, I'm gonna get it as well. Wow. Well, thank you for that, Juliet.
Wow.
Okay. She says you're welcome.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
I always assumed it had to be one of the mind file pieces because they're connected to everything.
Right.
Okay.
Huh.
So yeah, she was made to whip Dave and that other man and be basically kind of like a dominatrix,
Yeah.
and with just a little bit of sex for her, but not anything horrendous. It was the 2 men-on-man thing. So it was Summer who disemboweled the baby, blooded it, chopped up the adrenal gland into the blood, said a prayer to Satan, and passed the cup around. She split into Chop.
Yeah.
And then, okay. So I went out and worked on Ted's Sparkle and Light. Now that is Snake and Lamprey, Sarah and Lindsay, their new names. where they were made to lay there, either covered with snakes or having lampreys rape them, and stare up at the crystal, which had like light above it, like natural light, like sunlight, which it was spinning around, and the light would bounce off it. So sparkle came off of snake and light came off of lamprey. Remembered that as the snakes of the lamprey were all over them, that Grandpa was telling us to look at the light, look at the light, look at the light, as a way of, to distract. So it was, I guess, a backup comforter, protector kind of thing.
Mhm.
This is also while I was working on Ted. Tripp showed me that he is furious with Angie and Mary.
There you go.
When Tattletale told Mom everything that happened, Angie and Mary lied. They lied. They knew I was telling the truth and they fucking lied. I hate those bitches.
Wow. Yep.
Then after that, when Tattletale was tortured with the dental equipment, Angie and Mary were there.
Oh,
Before they began, Corbin, that boy that I was married to in the satanic wedding, because he was my man and he had to take, punish me or get your woman in line was the thing. Asked them if I was right-handed or left-handed. They told him I was right-handed. He told them to hook up the electricity to my left thumb, and they were the ones that applied the electricity to me. Zap was born while he was fucking with my tooth. So Tooth was born. It was them who tortured me with electricity. And he chose my left thumb because he said, we can't have her arm shaking when she's trying to eat, can we? And I said, fuckers.
yeah, yeah.
But also, when Tripp was in that hole for the first half hour or hour, he kept thinking that Angie and Mary would go get help for me. He kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and that was called time. That part, which I didn't get till the next day.
Yeah.
And I know these are not very creative names, but that's what it was, that's when he switched into tears. So he started going into despair and crying and think he's going to die and all that. When tears subsided, he switched to terror because now he's in the dark and doesn't know what the hell's going on. It's probably the third or fourth hour. So
Oh,
after the terror subsided, then he switched into torment from the bugs down there. He's having ants and spiders and beetles and shit on him, and he was just going crazy. Then he switched into fury. That's when he started smashing the bones, the skull and the crossbones that were at the bottom of but where my feet were.
let me
So
let me ask,
5 parts.
a question. So, have you done work with them yet? Have you gotten to know them yet?
Somewhat, yeah.
Because Fury's going to be a really, really
On TED,
powerful
yes, we've already been out there.
means of healing for all of the parts.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, and all of this after I went out and weed eated the backyard. Everything was fine. I came in and went to take my left hand and move it to my right side because I was, messing with my skin, taking the flakes of skin off. My hand is shaking, John. It was like this. Even today, there's still a little bit there. Um,
Wow.
my left move the right side, and my hand is shaking uncontrollably, but only when I raise it up to my face. It's the same right now after working and having a shower. So I went out and weed eated. I came in and I was, messing with my eyes, noticed the shaking. I thought, well, before I take a shower, when I go work on Ted, get sweaty and whatever again, then take a shower, and then I'll come sit down and do work. So that's what I did. Um, So after the shower, I sat down on my bed and I started crying. I was like, okay, I know that we just worked on Ted. We probably need to go back out again, but let's see what happens. And that's when I came in, and the night before my computer stopped working, and I'm crossing my fingers and saying prayers to God to magically put a spell on it and make it work, but it didn't. So it says all of this comes after Grant, that's my nephew, blowing me off for the past 4 days. All I wanted to know from him was if Mary and Celine were okay because they were in the eye of the hurricane. He completely ignored me. But last week, when I had a Bible to give him, he could respond to me in a second. I'm fucking disgusted with my family. Selfishness and selfishness.
Yeah.
So now I understand my whole life why Angie and Mary ever gave me any attention, that I was striving to have a normal relationship with them, a loving sisterhood. All they were doing was sucking the energy out of me and using me as their supply.
There
Now,
you go.
here's where my parts started losing it. Fucking cunt bitches, excuse
Yep.
my language. And now my fucking nephew is just as selfish as his mother, and my niece can't even be bothered to reply to
Yeah.
a text.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Selfish fucking people.
Yep.
And I think right here, I mean, I went out and worked on Ted again. And then I got Jackie says, she said, well, they're breaking it down for me. Jackie was the vaginal rape. Bluebird was the anal rape because as they were anally raping her, she looked up and she saw a bluebird in a window or somewhere. And then when she was being orally raped and was, well, oh no, I might have that mixed up. The oral one, she would be looking up, and the anal one, she'd be looking down. Oh, so I have these backwards. Anal. Sorry, guys. They said, that's okay. You were overwhelmed. So
It
yeah,
got a
Bluebird
good
was
sense of
above
humor.
me, and so that was the oral rape. And then ferret, when I was looking down, there was a dead ferret in the barn, and I was like, because I asked these guys, I said, well, what's your names? Ferret, Bluebird. I was like, okay. And then I didn't even know it until today, or yesterday when I was looking for pictures, why that was. So then more time passes. I think this is at night now. Yeah, I'm not sure. Said Eden was the one who was raped, just, with those, I think 3 or 4 boys and that one girl.
Yeah.
The song was the split from Rich Girl, the song Rich Girl.
Yep.
Then they invited all their buddies over. So now we got 20 boys and 3 girls. And that's where they're having me, the Love Shack's playing. And he's whacking me on the head, and I gotta whinny and pretend like I'm a horse to the Love Shack. And the bangs on my head only happen during a specific verse, and then the pawing of the other thing happened during a specific verse. So that's what that was. And then Carl is the part who was whipped and also had to whip and rape the mob girl. And I believe Carl happened after, I'm going to move that. I don't believe I know. Carl happened before that because Eden, a song kept thinking, they said, well, if you can do this correctly 3 times in a row, we'll let you go. Well, that was a lie because then they invited all their friends and buddies over while they were doing that. And then they had a whole nother thing go on. So those are those parts. Um, and then Janet is the part who was the athlete. Jojo was the part who was raped. So if Janet did well or not, whatever the after party, if it was Janet in training that day, Jojo got raped. If it was Skylar in training that day, Jaybird was the part who got raped. And Jaybird was the name that her mentor Hazel DeRosac called her Jaybird. And then Sailor's telling me, okay, well, I guess this is the narrator, Juliet. Sailor is the part who is raped without electricity. Rocket is the part who is raped with electricity. Now, those were the wealthy Milwaukee elite with the electric sailor. So the both parts are in that name, electric and sailor. except it's really Sailor and Rocket. I thought it was funny that Rocket, I said, well, what is your name? He's like, I don't know. And all of a sudden he, Rocket, call me Rocket, because it would
Oh,
take off
okay.
like a rocket. That electricity would make him go. Or no, actually, raped with rocket with electricity and stimulants. He just told me that right now. Yeah, they would give him stimulants and he'd take off like a rocket and then he could handle the electricity. So Catherine, who is the part who cut up the cat with grandma. James is the part who had to twist the cat's head off in the basement. In the base.
Has he had a chance to vent about that?
Um, a little bit, yeah, in the basement while Angie and Mary were. Okay. I have the sketch of that one, Angie and Mary. Anyway. And then
Uh,
Sarah is the part who had to do with the SRA ritual, so she's downstairs, they kill that baby. That is Sarah. Then she's brought upstairs, and there's another ritual where Jesus enters her. Well, actually, Grandma's about to put a demon in me, and I vomit in Grandma's face, and then Jesus enters me, and they all scatter. And I
okay.
thought, is vomit really your name? And she goes, yeah. I was
Well, good for her. That's
I was
beautiful.
like, okay. I said, yeah.
Ah, ah, that's the best gift grandma could have gotten right there.
Yeah, vomit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because after Jesus left my body and I was down on the ground, I was looking at my vomit on the floor. So it's like awesome. Livy, which is the part who had to do the butcher shop.
Yeah.
Dragon is the part who saw the demon in the sky and the ritual on the roof of the butcher shop.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you remember when I said Angie, Mary, and I were putting that vat of blood, and then afterward the snake and the lamprey business happened. Well, when we were putting the vat of blood, we had to like jump in and submerge underwater.
Oh gosh.
And when we came up, Angie was already up, and then I came up. And I remember I happened to come up looking at her. And in the first recall of that, I thought I was looking in a mirror. And then subsequent going over the journal, I realized, no, I was looking at Angie and we just looked so much alike, but she was covered in blood. And so was I. And so that's why the part's name is Mirror, because I thought I was looking in a mirror. Thinking I was okay. And then Lamprey split off into light when she was staring at the light. I'll say reflect off the crystal spinning above. So that is where the spinning came in.
Yeah.
She split off into shudder when her body started shaking uncontrollably.
Yeah.
And also a shutter was banging in the
Uh,
breeze
yeah.
as it happened. And it always startled her. So I think what happened was when let's say when a shutter was banging in the breeze as it happened, and it always startled her. And then and then her body started shaking uncontrollably because it was a distraction from what was going on.
Yeah.
And then she split off into shake because she's startled and having these like not really, I don't know if the convulsions the world, but you're just shaking uncontrollably.
That's
And then
trauma.
and then it moved just down into her foot, and her feet started doing this.
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
her whole body doing it, her feet were doing it. So then it turned into shake. She started shaking her foot, but that wasn't enough. So she started whacking her head
Yeah. Yeah.
against the ground. So
You
all
want to note that? I think you should note that. That's very important.
what?
Started slamming her head.
Yeah, I did. Bam
Oh,
from slamming.
I'm staring at it.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
from slamming her head against the ground. I
Yeah.
should say
Yeah.
hitting. I wasn't really slamming it, but I realized that those movements were distraction.
Yeah.
And so they changed from the whole body to the feet, and the feet wasn't enough. So let me add the head. And I got this thing spinning above me, and it was just insanity.
Wow.
So another part, Susan, that was the snake-covered girl, split off into sparkle as she stared at the spinning crystal above her, because all she had to do was be as tense as possible and stare at that damn light. This is just the snakes moving around. So there might be more, but she's saying no. And then again, as I'm doing this, my left hand is shaking uncontrollably as I'm holding the phone right now, dictating it. I was like this
Wow.
pretty continuously. And on top of it, when I was out weed eating before the shaking began, I was pulling the extension cord and wrapping it. And it whipped through my hand and cut me. And that's when I remembered the electrocution of my thumb, my
Ah,
left thumb by Angie and Mary. So it's like Ginger was saying, I'm going to give you an injury so that you can remember that. That's like, great, thanks.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because Ginger's the one that injures me. And before it was to suppress things. And I think, yeah, anyway.
So funny here. I asked you, did you write that down? And just a couple sentences ago, it showed. I'll tell you how you explain that. Here it's just right in front of me because I'm so
It's a
into
lot
what
to
you're saying.
digest for me. I can't even imagine an outsider trying to keep up with 200 and
Well,
I don't know how many
no, but
things I
it's
would
so
have.
funny because, well, none of it's funny, but I'm so into what you're saying. I'm not even seeing the next sentence that's coming.
Oh, yeah, no. The thanks for
Wow.
being so attentive then. So now here time passes. I'm not sure if I was in bed and time passed, if it was the afternoon, because it was kind of like an all day thing. Or no, this is during the day still. My family, as long as they can use me or get something from me, then I'm okay to interact with. But as soon as I create boundaries, that's it. They're fucking all psycho, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then one part is saying horror. There's just horror everywhere, and I'm all alone. And it's like all of them were saying it. Horror. There's just fucking horror everywhere because they're getting to know each other.
Yeah.
All these 25, 27 new parts. And they're like, are you kidding? You too, you too, you too. Really? Yeah, it's like, and then the other parts that are already co-conscious are like, yes, it's okay. Come here. We'll take care of you. Diana's a little overwhelmed. Let's get you into your housing. Let's get you let's get you
Oh,
fed and all
okay.
that. Yeah, but I think this was Tripped saying, and I'm all alone. But no, not just Trip. It's like so many of them just feel all alone. So then, oh yeah, that's right, because I did TED, took a shower, did the computer calls, and then I sat down to work on this stuff. And as I'm first thing I did was just found pictures. So that was a journey all by itself, and then putting the pictures in the PowerPoint. And so as I'm doing that, I'm getting these little details. That's right. And then I was dictating as I was doing that. And and I got to a point where I was just like, okay, we got to go to Ted because my hand's just flipping out. I don't know what's happening here. So I went out there, John, and my parts were like, no gloves, no shoes. I want my feet on the ground and I want to feel the hits.
Wow.
And they did the punching thing in the nose
Yeah.
and the chest. And then they're ripping the head around. That went on for a while, like maybe five, or probably close to 10 minutes.
Wow.
And then I spun Chris's little camp chair around, those little cloth slouchy things, and sat there, had a cigarette, and just stared at Ted. And I'm fucking yelling at Angie and Mary, you fucking cunts, you
Good.
bitches.
Good.
As I'm just sitting there, I'm just cussing them out like they're standing in front of me. And I pay you for your fucking HBO, and I'm
There you go.
just
There you
going on and on and on. And that goes on for like 10 minutes. And then I get up and beat Ted for another 5 or 10 minutes, except now
Beautiful.
I'm kicking it. I'm
Good.
kicking it with my feet for the first time. Never
Oh,
kicked it, kicking it in the gut. I tried a roundhouse kick, but I kind of pulled a muscle, so I didn't do
oh,
that anymore. But I tried it correctly because I actually did take taekwondo for 1 year when I was 16. Like, you remember how to stand? I tried it. I was like, okay, yeah. And that was for dad for that karate kick. I
yeah,
kicked
that's
his
right.
ass
That's right.
back. And so then I sat down again and I'm just cussing at Angie and Mary and dad.
Good.
And then so it was like 3 rounds. Probably I was out there half hour, 40 minutes. And as I'm taking a break, I'm smoking it. Just, you fucking cunt.
Good.
And
Good.
I even hollered at Grant and Celine. I'm like, in the eye of a fucking hurricane, and you bitch, Celine, you can't just text me you're okay. It's
Right.
too much of a fucking problem, you know? Or Grant. I told you I texted he wanted the Bible, so I mailed it out the next day. So 2 days later, I sent a text. So I don't know your mom's address. If you could let me know they're okay from the hurricane. Didn't hear nothing back. I waited 2 more days. The day the hurricane was going to hit, send him again. If you could just let me know your mom's leaving. Ignored it until yesterday. He finally replies to my text. He says, "Oh, I was on shift, and I just work and sleep. That's all I do. So sorry." I mean, he was, it didn't, I'm not saying it the way he said it. I'll read it. I
And
think
he still didn't even give you the information.
it says, sorry, I was on shift for the last couple of nights to just sleep and work. They're doing fine. They're far enough inland. I said, cool, thanks. I figured they were fine after this morning. It already hit. I said, where is that? Where are you working now? He says, I work in an emergency room and start Fire Academy in March. I said, I had no idea. Well, wow, good luck with your new thing. So you're actually going to become a fireman then, right? Yeah, full-time career, not just volunteering. Just volunteered for the past 2 years. I said, way cool. I'll tell Chris, he'll be excited. He says, yeah, I can't wait. And I said, tough job, but you should be set for life. They make good money. He says, exactly. And it's fun as hell, right? But still, I'm thinking, if your girlfriend called you during that time, you would have picked up the phone or you would have responded to her. If your mother would have called you I think he ignored me. I do.
Of course.
And I'm not sure why. And I'm like, so I don't know. Grant always gives me, I always get mixed feelings with him because I know he's loyal to his mother first, but he'll always throw me a breadcrumb.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't fucking care. And it's funny because was it last Christmas or the one before? We sent Grant and Celine each $500 each because we have no other people we buy presents for, right? We wanted Celine to have, she said the hurricane that happened 2 or 3 years ago flooded her car. And she told her, she said, I was really bummed out because I was about to buy a handgun, but then my car got flooded out, so I couldn't, and whatever. And Chris and I thought, well, let's send her money for Christmas so she can get a gun because she's a single woman living alone and hurricanes and shit can hit. We want her to be able to protect herself. And we thought, well, if we're going to give Celine money, let's give Grant money. So he got an AR-15 or some bullshit, and she got a handgun. And And so during that year, she would send us texts and pictures of her at the shooting range, which was cool. But Grant, nothing. Anyway, so I don't know why she couldn't respond to a text. Are you okay?
Yeah,
Are you
seriously.
moving away from the coast? Anyway, so I'm just over it. And I was thinking that, Mary is gonna be whispering in Grant's ear because he's a mama's boy. But Celine can't stand her mom, and guess who she calls for dating advice? Angie, the woman who's never been married and chooses losers on dating apps that fuck her over. I'm like, you're gonna go to her for dating advice?
Wow.
She's 60. What the fuck? And since Angie and I haven't talked for like 6 weeks now, I'm figuring Angie is in Celine's ear. So while I'm beating on Ted, I'm pissed off at Angie and Mary and Grant and Celine because they're all part of their little fucking cult.
That's
And I'm
right.
still, if you can't tell, I'm still mad.
Good for you. Good for you.
So that's what all of this was. And then after all of this is when Grant sent me the text, and I went, okay, well, maybe I'm
Hey,
over,
I just had a
maybe
thought
not.
for a title of uh, uh, one of the books you're going to write,
One.
ready? Because it's so beautiful, Diana. How about this? Healing Uncensored.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and
Now,
I'll tell you,
in whatever way, right? That message, because you got nothing to apologize for. And how many people will censor themselves and
yeah,
not be able
no,
to get it out?
I'm not. I'm letting it all hang out.
Right?
I'm
And
done.
so
I'm
that's why it's
over
so
it.
beautiful. You just, it doesn't matter to me what words you use or anything. And
Thank
so,
you. I know.
so
I think
the
poor Johnny's got to hear me say cunt and bitches and
no,
fuck.
but think about that's so because you're uncensored, you're getting healed. So
Well, and it's my parts too, because I got parts
that's
who
right.
cuss. They
That's
cuss
right.
like a sailor.
So in one way or another, I think you really need to incorporate, not you need to, but the one thing that is so powerful, Diane, about you is you are not censored, and that's what's allowing your healing. So to be able to at least speak to that for the survivors, to let them know that, listen, just be yourself, let it out. It doesn't matter what comes
Well,
out.
and you're alone with Ted anyway.
That's right.
And you know what? I don't even care if my neighbors hear. I mean, they're hearing me out there 3 times 4 times yesterday, and again this morning. Anyway, so so then after that, I finished at least getting into my PowerPoint, the image that they selected, their old image, their old name, and I made their bio cards, which I'll show you. These are the ones that have new names and new pictures. And I can't get the designer to do that one yet, but these are the ones with old pictures and old names. So
I'll go through that. Yeah.
here they are. Jojo, who was, the athlete raped. That was Rocket with the electricity and sex and stimulants. There's Vomit.
Yeah.
Bluebird. The light. Because it was kind of like this that was above. It didn't have a cross on it, but this one part focused on the light, another part focused on the sparkle.
Yep.
Then there was Shutter that was banging and the feet that were shaking and Bam was hitting her head. And I said, are you sure you want this picture? She goes, yeah, because I didn't want to see it anymore. I didn't want to see it anymore. And I went, okay. And then James was the one that had to twist the cat's head off.
Yeah.
Here's these were the trip parts. You got tears, terror, fury, torment. And I added time this morning. Carl was the mobsters where she had to whip the girl and rape the girl. Dragon was on top of that roof of the butcher shop. And then here's Mirror. Oh, I didn't add. I know I added them, darn it. There's two more parts. I need to add, who is it? It's Time and Oh yeah, Jerry. Let me see.
There you go.
The journal parts, images. I know. These are all my parts. Old names, new names. Okay, so
Yeah.
Jerry, where are you? There's Jerry. And time. It's a clock. Where are you, time? So I can't see very well because it's, oh, here we go. How did my, oh, there it is. Okay, insert. Oh, dang it. I guess I'll just do this. So this is time. And this is Jerry. And these come from images I'll read to you shortly. But this was Trip in being buried, hoping and praying that my sisters were going to get me help. And when he realized, well, enough time has gone by, it isn't going to happen, then he went into the other parts. So actually, I don't like this, but I'll use it for now. Oh, I just want plain old images without any crap. Dang it.
Yeah, that's right. I've noticed that PowerPoint does that.
Okay, there we go. Copy, paste, paste. So this is time. Oh, and I'm missing a page because I'm freaking out about this. And this is with Jerry. Okay. So yeah, I'll go back here. Okay, yeah. So you saw time, and then there was the mistress where I'm in that house in Germany and whipping the two gay men. My boyfriend with
Yeah.
his lover, and then she had to chop up that baby. It was surrounded by fruit and flowers, but this was the only baby that had a sad face. All the others were, and then this is Tooth. When I told mom what happened, Angie and Mary lied, and they're fucking with my tooth for torture. And Zap is the other split off of that, where my sisters are zapping my hand with electricity. And then song and verse was the mobster thing with those two different songs. And Mirror was being in Nevada Blood with Angie. And that's kind of how we looked, except we were face to face. And our eyes were open, so you could see the whites of our eyes. And then Jerry, I'll read about in a moment. So, but why did I? Yeah, let me do this. Find. Oh, dang. You know what? I need to put in what's your new name? Time is
Doing
Tara.
an incredible job, Diana. Unbelievable.
Oh, did it not save? I will just cry. Did I open the wrong one? Oh, I just worked on all this morning. All right, let me find Trip.
You gotta take your time. Oh,
Trip. I'm trying to, oh, come on now. There, okay. Oh, here they are. Okay, so this is what I created yesterday, was the
oh,
original part with their bio.
oh, good for you. Okay.
And okay, so I'm missing the one that is time. I know I put that in there, dang it. So now I'm getting anxiety over this. Okay,
You
so
need two means of backing up or backup. So
Well, and the problem is my laptop only has one port. So I
Yeah,
can back it up to my external drive, and usually at the end of the day, I'll put it on a second one, but I can't do that now because my main tower is, and I got an adapter, a hub, but it won't function properly when I want to move it from the main computer to two drives, or
yeah.
even to do it's just a nightmare. So anyway, so this was last night, or no, I read this to you. Oh no, this is yesterday afternoon. Chris had gotten home and he went out into the garage and hung out, and I decided to take a bath because I was a little fried. I'd finished the PowerPoints and I thought, well, let's just take a bath and relax before we eat. So Shudder is telling me that as she was being raped by lamprey, the animal, staring at the crystal, there was a shutter on the barn banging in the wind, and every time it banged, it would startle her. Mirror is telling me that she's nervous about being in the bathtub, but I told her to look through my eyes and see that it's just water and it's only 18 inches high and there's nothing in it. And she's like, okay. Oh, and I think oh yeah, I'll get to this. Now, Tooth and Zap are so furious with Angie and Mary. And I didn't know what this was referring to until this morning. If they would not have lied and told the truth, all of this could have been stopped at the age of 6.
There you go.
So right before the bath, I asked all 25 new parts to walk with me through the house, and I did, to look through my eyes, feel with my hands, and some of them were touching stuff, hear with my ears, and see where they are now. I keep saying all of you, because I couldn't remember all their names. And I felt bad, but I said, just all of you, past, present, future, all of you, look through my eyes as we tour the house. I believe they all did. It was after that they all wanted to take a bath. I feel fried. So Piper is saying I was only able to get their pictures and their bio pages made and put them on the cover of the map. No one has a new name yet or anything else, just a name pick and bio page. I said to her, it's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
We've never had 27 parts at
This is
once.
PhD levels.
It's like 27 parts at once, you're doing good.
I like
You know,
her. That's
And
funny.
then, and plus the computer being screwed up and it would go like this, and with the
Yeah.
laptop, I'm like, oh my goodness. She said, plus my computer fried today. I called the warranty people who sent me an HP who don't recognize my serial. I was so fried, I put it on hold and worked on my laptop. And I was having a hard time seeing.
Oh gosh.
Because when I put the oil on my eyes, it gets on my eyelashes, and then my eyelashes get on my glasses. So that I wind up with oil on my glasses, like right now. And then I clean it, right? And then it smears, and then I have to clean it again until the smear goes away.
Oh gosh.
It's constant all day long with my eyes,
Yeah.
constantly. I should have a part called Blake. Or scales. I have scales on my eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't. And maybe there is because it started 20 years ago. And it's just been a nonstop nightmare ever since. I shouldn't say nightmare. This is what I've always said to God. I said, God, if this is the worst physical ailment you give me of my lifetime, I'll take it. I don't have diabetes. I don't have heart problems. I'm not on any medications. I'm strong. I said, if this is the ailment for my lifetime, I'll take it. But now I don't want
Yeah.
it.
Well, as you're saying, right, trying to put pieces together, pardon the pun, all the parts. And
Yeah.
um, the thing that really resonates with me is the idea of, the metaphor, and you've brought it out, right? That somehow,
Scales on my
right?
eyes.
And I
Yeah.
can't help but feel it. I mean, it can be so many different things, but one that really tops the list would be one connected to what your grandmother did, as if there was some sort of spell, some And again,
Okay.
I don't view spells as, I mean, personally,
Yeah,
and
I've never thought of a spell in my life. I mean, Wizzy did, but I was never conscious of them.
yeah. But from a Christian perspective, spells from the occult have no impact on us. They do. Demons are the
Yeah.
ones that try to make them come to pass. Um, but it may be that the words were so impactful that still some part is working it through. And combination of, if you were to ever see, then everything would come apart at the seams, or
Oh,
so.
yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah.
So as you're still working that through, right? I mean, just the power of, since the body keeps a score, and something about the eyes, because your grandmother was so vile and so sadistic that,
Yeah, yeah, she was. Sorry, I'm scratching.
so there still may be, right? There may be a part because of what your grandmother did.
Well, and I've yet to really go part by part and do TED time because I always have something new come up. I
Yeah,
give them
yeah, that's
first
right.
dibs at TED. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, jump in there at any time.
Yeah, but I mean, I can envision. I mean, the level of sadistic stuff that all these people did, but your grandmother was so uniquely sadistic.
And my grandfather too. Yeah,
And
they
yep,
were
there we
like,
go. Okay, the two of them. So the idea, I could envision, her smearing something on your eyes, or I don't know. It's just, so bless your heart, as you're continuing to do this, then if there is a part that was so understandably, right, was so persuaded from a certain
yeah.
ritual that,
Well, and I'm thinking too, the prayer that I do every night, that Mary Lou Lake, it specifically addresses familiar, intergenerational, cutting ties and pouring the blood of Jesus on the severed cords between any, curses and all that stuff. So I've been doing that like 45 days now every day, plus the frankincense. It's starting to heal. I mean, I don't have scaling and peeling up here anymore or on my nose anymore. And the parts of my eyes are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I think saying that prayer every day
yeah,
and then doing the frankincense all day long is changing things.
yeah,
Plus, obviously, all this work.
yeah.
So I forget where. Oh yeah, so this is after I took the bath. Okay, this I think was. I still had to finish a little bit up on the computer, I think. So I said Rocket and Carl. Rocket was the electric sailor with electricity, and Carl was the one that had to whip the mobster girls. Both had strap-on dildos to penetrate the women that demanded it. So I was like, well, that's new information. That's great. Because I'm seeing myself have sex like a man. And I'm like, well, how is that possible? And they're, oh, we had dildos, strap-on dildos. And I went, oh, awesome. Thanks. This is as I'm laying in bed. So I recorded it. They're like,
Yeah,
yeah, just wanted to show you. I was like, okay. It's like,
unbelievable.
I know. Just these little split-second things, I'm like, better write down. And then, okay. So this thing started kind of shifting here. I think in my mind's eye, I said, okay. And I listed off all the names I could remember, and I think I got them all. And I said, what I want you to do is we're all going to walk in the lake. We're going to go slowly. We're going to go till our heads are submerged, and then we're going to come up. We were all holding hands in a big line. I said, and as we go in the water, your clothes and everything are going to melt off of you. And as we come up, you're going to be clothed in a beautiful, fluffy white dry robe. And as we walk onto shore, you're going to have fabulous soft slippers. And then I'm going to have different parts take you to different homes. And on my map, I added 40 new home or three new big log cabin homes. So there was 40 more rooms.
Wow.
Okay, 40. And I said, you can pick out anywhere you want to live with anybody you want to live. And if you displace somebody, that's okay. They'll move and shift, but you pick what you want. You get first dibs. So they all, and I asked other parts if here's so and so, here's so and so. And so they all walked, and then I was kind of drifting off. So the new parts were like being cared for. And I think there was a few of them that I held for a while too. So then Finn jumps, not Finn didn't jump in, but I just saw a middle-aged man with choppy blonde hair all shoved from one side over to the other, and he had his tongue out, flicking it around. He was in a very dirty room. And then I said, he is in the alleyway where I had to go murder when I was working for Best Buy. It was in a very seedy part of town behind a strip mall. I was dressed as a man in raggedy clothes and scuffed dirt all over my face to like give me like a shadow like a man would have from a beard, with a ball cap on. This incident is where the target got away. I was approached and confronted by this filthy man with his hair shoved to one side. Dealing with him, my target got away. I wound up stabbing that man in the kidney so I could get away. And then I kind of drifting again. I said, and I just saw a very fat man lying on a table in some sort of scientific room. I'm standing at the head of the table with my hands on his head. I'm about 8 or 9 years old. And then I got up after about 10 minutes and thought, well, I better sketch him. So it's like some parts insist that it be sketched and some parts don't. But this is the creepy guy. I forgot to draw his tongue flicking around, but this is like the alley, the ground, and it was kind of wet and dark and just kind of gross. And this is the wall to the Safeway. And I just remember his hair was just all over like that. And the funny thing is I was taking the picture again, the shadow of my hand got there, but I did not take the picture. And my part's going, yeah, there's a shadow there in real life. So draw the shadow. So I
Ah,
had the part draw the shadow. And it was it was the shadow of the man walking away. So the dude was over here, but all I saw was my attention was on him. He's a really gross man. He really like sunken cheeks and angular weird face, and yeah, he was gross. Um, and then the next sketch is this one. Oops. I guess I should. So what I realized, first I drew the table and then I put this on there and I'm like, well, there's no legs. And they're like, no, that's correct. Just draw it like that. So it's like in a body bag. In a weird shape. It's very huge. And if you compare my body to that, it's very large. And so I drew me just in peach at first with the hair and me kind of being like, ugh. And then I realized, oh my God, there's a dog man in a body bag.
oh,
So I wrote that down. And then I realized, oh, well, there's wheels under these legs. So I put wheels. I thought, I'm pushing him. I don't have my hands on his head. I'm pushing this table with this dead dog man. And I drew the walls, and these were like those doors I pushed them through, and the doors were flicking around.
yeah,
And then I realized, oh, it's a morgue. I drew these little, slots for where you put the drawers for where bodies go. And they had me. And then at last thing I drew was me in my army uniform. And I put the hat on. I kept
yeah.
thinking, why is my hair so fucking high? And then I realized, oh, it's the hat. There's a hat there. It's not my hair. So yeah, I was it reminded me of that image I had before. Remember I said I was standing in like a squad of 6 people and there was a dog man in uniform walking in front of us, giving us like orders or something. And
Yeah.
the image started with me seeing some weeds next to something, and then that led to the anyway, and I never really got more information. Well, now I did. It's something about I had the abortion. Well, no, they took me downstairs and had the dogman rape me because I was still pregnant. And so I had a hormone that they thought that the dogs would smell and that would make them mate with me. So that's how I got raped. Then the abortion happened, I think maybe a week after that. Then on subsequent times on guard duty, if I wasn't getting MK Ultra'd, I was interacting with dogmen people. And there were some that were more evolved and better chimeras than others that had the ability to think and talk, but they had that dog man kind of build because they had arms and legs and he could walk and he was in a uniform, but his face was like a dog. That was the guy. And I'm not getting much from it, but then I saw this and I thought, well, why would I be pushing a dead dog man? Did I kill it? What happened? And they're like, no, you were just told to go take him to the morgue. So I'm in some sort of environment where things are occurring with dogmen and real human social soldiers that are MK Ultra'd, and we're doing things. And I think we were interacting in a kind of maybe a hand-to-hand combat way. And the ones that died were the ones not able to, it was their way of weeding out the weaker dogmen and keeping the stronger dogmen around so that they could continue to breed them, if that makes sense. So they were weeding out the weaker ones. And they thought, well, if a human can kill you, then we don't need you. We need you stronger than a human. So it's like this kind of low level training for these things because they knew they could approach a higher level because they had one in uniform talking, orchestrating the whole thing with the army.
Do you remember the sound of the voice?
It was raspy, raspy, kind of barking orders like a drill sergeant, but it's raspy, like that. I never thought about it till you asked, but this kind of along those lines. Yeah, it was very barky, just different type of vocal cord, I guess.
It seemed to have like human characters as far as
Like this one was more human than dog, but the shape of its skull and face was more dog-like than human, which I think is what they wanted to go for because it was more intimidating and horrifying to a normal person. If they were ever to unleash these things, people will flip out just because it exists, which I would have. But, I mean, if you talk to Nathan Reynolds, he saw lots of chimeras, all various different sorts of chimeras. The only ones I ever saw were these dogmen. So I wonder if different bases have different types of experiments going on. But yeah, this image, and I stared at it for quite a long time last night, realizing, oh, so it's the first image I got months ago was the beginning. This image is like the end. So what happened in the middle? And they're like, well, it was kind of a way to figure out which dogmen would survive and which wouldn't. And it wasn't about just outright killing them. It was about, I think, hand-to-hand combat, but not with me per se, I'm not sure, but with men, because men are stronger than women. And so they need, or maybe they started off with the girls. Yeah, okay. So they'd start off with the girls, and if the dog man survived, then it would fight a man. And if it survived that, it would fight a bigger man. And then, it would just successively weeding out the weak ones. So it's like this, yeah, this genetic experiment trying to create a dog man that could be like a soldier.
Um,
Creepy, eh?
Diana, the fact that they had them come into you as far as, potential mating and stuff, um, do you think they are using women to be impregnated and carry these chimeras?
Maybe. I mean, if you're a career soldier, it'd be easy enough to do, impregnate them, have the woman carry it 3 or 4 months, take her downstairs, pull the baby out, tell her that she had a miscarriage,
Oh,
and then, raise the baby. I don't know how they would do it. But they've got access to you. They've got all the equipment necessary. Or if they're just looking to inseminate the sperm and the egg, and then at some point take it out of the human woman. I don't know why they wouldn't do that in a test tube, but I think it was with me, it was about teaching it to mate, period. Not with but just to mate. And I think they thought, well, because I was pregnant, maybe that hormonal influence would affect their smelling and trigger something. Because it's like I think about Dixie. When I looked something out about why dogs walk around so much when they're trying to pee. And so what's happening is they're sniffing the ground, trying to find a spot where they've urinated already. And once they smell that, it triggers a hormone that will make them urinate. And so as I'm talking to you about this, I think it was about having them smell a hormone to see if it would trigger the mating instinct. Because I think most chimeras, don't they wind up sterile? Like a donkey and a horse make a mule who is sterile. So when you crossbreed species, I think that species is sterile and they're trying to cross that barrier somehow. I don't know, just a
they're-
guess.
these scientists are such Nazis.
They are. They are. Yeah.
That's all this is.
So, okay. After I did the sketches, then I got more. I said I had to fight that man in the alley behind Safeway. I was trying to follow my target, but that man got in between us. He wouldn't let me pass by. So Petunia, now that's the little girl that learned the hand-to-hand combat, which I think probably there's another part. Is it Jerry? I bet you it's Jerry. Yeah. Had to do hand-to-hand combat with the dog man because I haven't done a whole lot of hand-to-hand combat. But as a little girl, and now again in this memory up here, right? So they tend to come together, but I don't know how they work together. So I'm going to say it wasn't Petunia, it was Jerry. Jerry smashed him in the face, which is what I've been doing on Ted. But by the time I disabled him, my target was gone. I get the impression that my target somehow activated the demon inside of that man to put a roadblock for it, or between, the target and me. Because you know how if someone's not a good soul, a demon can take it over. And so I think this is just some homeless guy laying around, and the demon, or maybe it was a drug addict, I don't know. The demon activated it, and it was a roadblock, so I couldn't go after the guy. Because I remember
Now,
there was one out of those four that wasn't successful. And I remember thinking, oh, thank God I didn't have to kill anybody on that one. Well, guess what? I did. It's like
now
fucking awesome.
the intended target, so he sensed that he was being targeted.
Probably. I don't know. But that's just the vibe I got is he knew, or maybe my target was possessed himself, or had a demon hanging around him. And, but there was something interceded and stopped it from happening. And the only thing I could think of is that the target himself was possessed or had demons protecting him. Because I'm saying one jumped into that, I think it was a drug addict, and it stopped me, wouldn't let me go by. And it had occupied me long enough for that guy to disappear. And it's crazy. I hear myself saying these things. What am I, Jennifer Garner, an alias, a super spy, assassin? And I'm like, well, yeah, I kind of was. Like, it's hard to believe, but I'm like, my part's like, no, it's the real deal. And even my voice it's the real deal.
Okay, right.
I usually don't hear my voice change, but sometimes I do. I even got a Southern Belle in there.
You got what? I'm sorry?
A Southern Belle. A Southern
Okay.
Belle. Yeah, when I was in Dallas, I had
It's very
I
true.
picked
It's
up
very interesting how voice inflection, it'll
I
change.
picked up a different, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm back to Jerry. And again, I put these names in after the fact when I'm in my Word document. The person that I saw on the table was actually Dogman and Body Bag. Oh, I read that already. I believe that certain trained military people were fighting these dogmen. One of them got killed. I was assigned to push his body into the morgue. So I think because I was a girl and they were at a stage where they were fighting men, I was there as like a, not administer, but like backup. You push the dead people out. We'll have someone body bag them up and you push them in there kind of thing. And then this was kind of a off the wall. I'm thinking this might be Jack here. I just saw a man shaking a mixer bottle in his left hand, holding a drink in his right. And I'm standing in front of him, and I have a drink glass, a rum and coke. And then another very disjointed, bizarre picture. Okay, I just saw a brown curly-haired dog standing at a screen door, waiting to go outside. And that was it. So I woke up this morning, uh, got that done, did a little work on my graphs and stuff, got to a certain point, and I thought, well, let me eat some breakfast. I had breakfast. And then I went out and beat on Ted again. And it was at 10 o'clock that I went out there. Or no, 10 o'clock when I ate, so maybe 10 minutes to eat. And then I went out there. And I didn't come back in until 10 minutes till noon, or 10 minutes till 11. So I was out there a good 40 minutes. The same thing I did yesterday. Beat the snot out of it with my hands. I'm kicking it. I got the bat, except today I'm just screaming and screaming at Angie and Mary.
Yeah.
And as I'm doing that, I'm realizing what happened. I had the satanic marriage. Then Rocky hides. He gets tortured. Mom gets drugged to zombiehood. We go home. I start kindergarten. Then the next summer break happens. We go back. Or maybe all that happened in the same summer break. I'd have to look at the ages. But anyway, then they do. Oh, let me look at the ages here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm 4 when okay, so I'm 4 when we got the snakes and the lamprey. I'm 5 when, no, I'm 6. Okay, so I started school when I was 5. So the summer between kindergarten and first grade, we go back there. I'm 6 years old. Tate gets buried. Teresa gets tortured along with, their splits. And okay, right. That's what it is. I think in somewhere in those 3 or 4 parts, Teresa, I split and got the nerve up to tell mom. And I remember thinking I told her in the kitchen of grandma's house, but it wasn't. It was in the bedroom. Angie, Mary, and I were up there by ourselves. And I was talking about, I'm going to tell mom. I'm going to tell mom to come with me. Let's tell mom together. And first they were resistant, and I'm like, come on. Oh, that's right. So I'm beating on Ted remembering this. Angie and Mary are saying, no, we've tried to tell mom, and she just zones out. She's so fucking stupid. She's this, she's that. She ain't gonna get it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying, but if all 3 of us tell her the same thing, it'll make a difference, not you individually or you individually. And I'm 6 years old trying to articulate this, right? And I'm like, no, but you were alone and you went alone, right? So they had each gone to her and mom got gaslighted or whatever happened to her, or she didn't click, whatever. And I'm like, so I'm saying, I'm gonna go tell mom, and they're saying no, because I tried. She said, really? Well, I tried too, and the same thing happened. So don't even bother. And I'm like, and then I realized, well, why don't all 3 of us tell her together here in this room with no one else around? She will have all 3 of us can back each other up, and she can't ignore that because we'll all have the same story. And it was a story about me being buried. And they agreed. We all agreed. And so we called mom up to the room. We shut the door. We spoke in hushed tones. Well, I spoke in hushed tones. And Angie and Mary, once I fessed up and said anything, and mom said to them, is that right? Is that what happened? They fucking lied. They betrayed me. They said, no, she's lying. She's making shit up. It's all bullshit. And I whipped my head around and I was afraid. I said, you liars, you're lying. You know you're lying. We just talked about this. And I was thinking, how stupid can you be? Tell her the truth. And I was starting to yell. And that's when my grandma came in and she's like, what's going on here? And I'm just remembering this right now that I was yelling and grandma came in. Oh, geez, I should stop sharing. Is yelling and grandma came in and like, well, Diana just told me that X, Y, and Z happened. Angie Mary, no, that's a lie. Because when I got buried, it was Angie and Mary and Corbin and my cousin Cheryl and 2 other neighbor boys that did it. So if they admitted to it, they would admit that, yeah, we didn't help them do it, but we certainly didn't come and get help. So they would have had to fess up to their own culpability. And they weren't willing to do that. And when I remembered that, Jon, this morning, I just my hands started shaking again. And I just lost it. And like I said, I was out there 40 minutes just beating on Ted for 5 or 10, and then I would sit down and I'd think, well, let me have a cigarette and yell at him. Like, no, I don't need a fucking cigarette. And I would just yell at him. Yell, 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 yell. And then I'd get up and kick him and twist the head. And I was just furious. And I got to the point, Jon, I said, God, they are still that way right now.
There we go. There we go.
I said they are perp apologists. Angie's in love with dad. Oh, he's great. Said even though Mary hates dad, she's a fucking she's a narcissist herself. Her daughter can't stand her. She caused none. And I was listing all these things. I said, God, I want you to fucking kill them now as swiftly as possible. And I was just going off. And I was like, I don't want to be the trustee for Angie's will or for her trust. I don't want anything to fucking do with her anymore. I'm like, when her HBO gets cut off on the 23rd, so that's 12 days. I'm counting it down. And I get the phone call from her. If I get a phone call, what happened? I'm going to say, you know what? I'm not responsible to pay for your entertainment. Number one. Number two, thanks for fucking me over on my birthday. Number three, I don't even know where I'm going to go with it, but I'm going to say
Well,
the
I think
only way
if you're gonna do it, I think you need to bring this stuff up.
I said the only way I'm going to have a conversation with you ever again will be up only about our childhood only.
Good, good. But
And I said,
make sure you drop a piece in there.
yeah, it's going to be the one. Do you remember the Hail Ra, Hail Satan dance that you made us practice in the basement?
There we
Remember the
go.
basement with the curtain where Dad had me choked out, tied to a fucking pole, and you and Mary looked and did nothing?
Good.
And because I was hitting on Ted going, you fucking betrayed me. And I'm like, how'd they betray me? And then all of a sudden the part told me because you had a conversation and you all agreed to talk, to tell the truth. And then they fucking backed out
Okay.
because they knew that they were partially responsible for me being buried in there for 6 hours. And if mom would have found that out, she would have been furious with them. And I said, God, I understand that they were mind controlled, that they're parts and all that shit that
Still,
I'm going through now. But still, we had an opportunity to make a difference, and those bitches chickened out. And
okay.
that's what I was screaming. I said, you chicken shit bitches, you stupid cunts. You betraying fucking fiends. And I said, and you're still narcissists to this day, sucking the lifeblood out of me. And I've spent 58 years trying to repair our sisterhood and make it right and try and make it work. And all the two of you do just suck the fucking life out of me and use me. And I'm still angry, John, as you can tell.
Right, there we
But I
go.
was just going off. If I wasn't hitting them for 5 or 10 minutes, I was sitting in that chair fucking, and I turned the chair and I was just facing Ted,
Good,
screaming at them. I
good.
thought that's when my voice is spread. I thought my poor neighbors. It's like, "Oh, I don't care. I
Good.
don't care. They can blare their music and keep me up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Fuck you. You can listen to me yell for 15 minutes 2 or 3 times a week. Fuck
Good.
you, people. I don't care anymore. I just don't. You have no respect for me. I have no respect for you. Fuck you. I'm just,
For you.
and John, I swear to God, I asked God, I said, punish Angie and Mary as swiftly as possible. I said, if they can't repent and change their ways,
They
I said,
choose not
punish
to.
them.
Right? If
I,
they
I
choose not
said they
to.
choose not to. I said, punish them swiftly. I said, make them die right now.
Good,
I was just going off.
good,
And then this other person said, well, if they die, you'll be sad. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be sad for a fucking minute and I'll get over it.
good.
I said, they are fucking perpetrators right now. They're vampires. They don't care. They don't have a conscience. Angie's printing pornography, practicing witchcraft. Mary's trying to suck the lifeblood out of everybody and every penny she can. As you could tell, I'm still angry. But I'm done with them for good forever. If Angie dies in the next day or two before I tell her to take me off her trust, and I wind up having to handle her trust, then fine. I'm not sending. She has her will for all of her money to be go to a dog shelter. And I remember talking to her. I said, Angie, this world is difficult enough for human beings. I said, why don't you will your money to human beings who can do something good with it? And I said, and I said, I'll tell you another factoid. When you donate to a charity, 98% of every dollar goes to administrative costs
I
and
know.
salaries and running the business, and 2 cents goes to the thing you want to help. She said, oh, well, thanks for telling me that. She changed the trust to say that the money can only go to the recipient and not for operating costs. I said, great. I said, as hard as this world is, I said, give it to Celine, give it to Grant, give him a leg up. I said, imagine if you're 25 years old like they are, and someone died and you got 50 grand or 100 grand, how that would change the trajectory of your life. No, wants it to go to dogs. And I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to handle your trust, fuck you. Because no one's checking, no one's looking. I don't have to report anything. I'm going to give some to Mary, to Celine, to Segrant, and the rest to myself. Fuck you, is what
Good
I
for you.
thought. And
Good
I
for you.
thought that from the
It's a
very
good.
beginning.
Good for you.
And
Good
now
for
I'm like, well, fuck Mary. She's not getting a dime. But Grant and Celine, great. And
you
for
know,
me, good.
keep yourself on there. Keep yourself on.
I'm just like, I feel like it's a tie, it's a cord. And as long as I hang on to that cord, that it keeps me connected to
Okay, yeah, no, that's right.
evil.
Good for
And
you.
and I'm like, fuck it, make Celine your goddamn trustee. I don't
Good for you.
care.
Good
You
for
know,
you.
her and Celine will call her for dating advice from a failed 60-year-old woman. And the you know what the advice Angie tells her? To use dating apps and to use a dildo. Use a toy. You don't need a man. I'm like, that's not what a 20-year-old needs to hear. I just want to fucking kill her, John. Both of them. I'm
Unbelievable.
sorry. I think about all these years of me trying to do
Right.
the right thing and listen to my conscience and fix things and trying to do the right thing. Let me help you with your business, Angie. Let me send you a TED. That's the only thing I want back from her is the TED. And then you die, I'm gonna go get the TED.
Good for
And I'll
you.
drive it home. I almost want to go this weekend, get it and come home and say, take me off your fucking trust. I don't give a fuck about your money.
There you go.
Sorry.
Good. It's all good.
I'm sorry I'm yelling. I'm so disgusted.
Isn't that interesting? Once the truth sinks in, it's you're free. That's really it's the same healing.
And it's
It's
all
all
I ever wanted was to have a bond with my sisters, a loving, constructive, empowering, uplifting, godly sisterhood. And they have done nothing
that's
but
right.
thwart it at every conceivable angle at every single age of my life. From
Right.
6 years, well, actually from earlier than that, from 3 years old. And I'm just like, I'm like, how am I the only one that didn't come through it as a psychopath or a narcissist or with my conscience cauterized and money hungry and why didn't they make it through? I don't get it.
Ultimately, it's a choice. It's still a very
Sorry, I'm
strange
yelling.
thing, right?
It is. I mean, because I've always been like, well, yeah, you could do that, Diana, but I just feel wrong about it. Like I'm 16 and me and my girlfriend are driving to school and it's pouring down rain. And we drive, there's this big, huge puddle and this little girl standing with her umbrella on the corner waiting to cross the street. And me and my girlfriend just drive over and we purposely went through that big, huge puddle and just splashed dirt, nasty, dirty street water, head to toe to that little girl. To this day, I still feel guilty about it. To this day. And Angie and Mary probably wouldn't even fucking remember it.
There you
Or
go.
if they did, they would laugh about it.
There you go.
To this day, I said, God, forgive me for splashing that girl. It's ridiculous. It was like 40 years ago, and I still feel bad about it. And Angie and Mary, no, yeah, Diana, let me use you. Just, and it was my parts. My parts wanted to have a sister. Okay, I'll be a loyal cult member. I'll be your lackey. I'll be this. Oh, I'll do it. Let me try to be peacemaker. No more. They can tear each other's throats out for all I fucking care. And God kill them right now, today, swiftly.
Good.
I mean, I feel bad saying that, but I don't.
Listen, that is Psalm 3.
I
And
know it's the imprecatory prayer, but
right,
it
but think about and Diana
God
and I have been
knows their
praying.
heart. God
I've been
knows
praying the
their
same
heart.
thing. Okay,
Yeah,
the reality
yeah.
is when you look at Psalm 3,
And you
it is
see
about
them for what they truly are.
it is David who's writing it about his son, Absalom.
Really? Oh,
Where,
wow.
as a matter of fact,
For God to kill him?
ready? Oh, it's even better than that.
Wow.
So he came a long ways because at first he tells the soldiers, he's so torn up over Absalom, and Joab, the commanding officer, says, when all is said and done, he said, so basically, you would have rather had the kid who tried to overthrow you and kill you, would rather have him alive than all of us dead.
Yeah, I think I remember that from the earlier
Yeah.
books, right?
And so Psalm 3, so that's the very first imprecatory prayer. And so it says it's about Absalom. And the second to last verse, well, verse 7 and 8. So, arise, O Lord, rescue me, my God. Slap all my enemies in the face and shatter the teeth of the wicked. Okay, so he's talking about Absalom. Well, the word slap, there's various meanings of it: slay, ruin, inflict, kill, attack, shoot,
Wow.
and beat.
Because I was still having a little feeling bad that like
No,
that's
think
people.
about that. Slay, ruin, inflict, kill, attack, shoot, beat, and strike and slap. So,
Wow. Okay. Well,
other
the
than that,
veteran
right?
just.
And it's exactly
And
what you're
it's
saying.
like saying, wipe this evil off the world.
That's
We don't
exactly
need
right.
any more of this fucking evil. These people make these choices. I mean,
That's right.
Angie's 61, should be 62. Mary will be 61 in December. And I'm like, you're still this petty, this
Right.
selfish, this self-absorbed, using people, vampiring off of people. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I'm
And Diane,
so
the difference between somebody that's eligible to be forgiven and, let's say, demon who's maybe demon possessed, whether they are or not, or
I
you think
don't
about.
think they're possessed at all. I think they choose what they
Yeah,
do.
I'm sorry. But you think about someone that, in our estimation, would be the most unlikely to ever repent, would be a demon-possessed person.
Sure,
Um,
yeah, because they're past that reprobate
that's
state.
right. But what's interesting is, remember the story of the demoniac, where Jesus goes to the Gadarenes. That's the only time there were no crowds, and the only time the disciples didn't get out of the boat. So what's interesting is here you had two guys. One of the Gospels focuses on one, but there were two of them. Where they go into the pigs, all the demons go in the pigs, and we are legion. That phrase. It's interesting how it says that nobody could restrain them. They had handcuffs put on, their shackles, and so isn't it interesting? That means you had a guy, but two of them effectively. So you had these two people who could have done anything and gone anywhere. If you can't be restrained, I've seen some inmates where officers are nervous of them. So I have
Wow.
it's quite something. Okay. But then again, look at what you've experienced. So um, the question is, why didn't they have their way with the town? Why didn't they go to town? Why didn't they go to the jewelry store? I don't know, with the whatever the equivalent of that. If they are unstoppable, why were they in the catacombs? Why were they they stayed by themselves? And the last thing that any demon possessed person, the last thing any self-respecting demon, how's that for a term?
It's
The
gonna
the
hang out in the
thinking,
catacomb. Yeah.
right? So the last thing any thinking demon would want is to be close to the person that has the power to get rid of you. So the question is,
Oh, and
why
so
did he close the gap? First of all, he arrives on shore. So Satan knew where Jesus was heading. The disciples didn't, but that's why Satan tried to swamp the boat, and Jesus rebukes the wind and the waves. So you don't rebuke an inanimate object. So it's interesting. So Jesus makes this special trip. arrives on shore. There are no crowds, and the disciples didn't get out of the boat because here comes running like a maniac, closing the gap towards Jesus. Jesus hadn't even spoken, hadn't, so here, from my time working in solitary, there were days that you could just tell full moon or something, right? It just had an ebb and flow feel to it. And as what OBGYN departments or the delivery departments will schedule based upon the cycle of the moon, full moon, more women.
Really?
Yeah, that's interesting. I heard that from a nurse one time.
I had no idea.
So I would walk on the unit, and you could just feel it was going crazy like a monkey cage, and it became such a joke, such a truism that I'd
Yeah,
walk
there's
out
the
and
full
say,
moon.
"That's
Yeah.
it. Is it a full moon? What in the tarnation?" So here you have two guys, but it focuses on the one, and I'm convinced that the host, then the person that becomes demon possessed, becomes like a beehive.
Yeah.
And so the demons are out by day or whatever doing their thing, and then they return. I'm convinced that the man, when he saw Jesus, there's something in him that knew, and he knew if he could get there before the demons came back.
Oh.
So he makes a beeline, pardon the pun. He's running and throws himself. And by that time, all the demons came back. So there's an example of somebody who had a bunch of demons, a legion of demons, that was eligible for forgiveness. Because I think what he did, whatever he opened himself up, probably drugs or something, because
Yeah.
of abuse, I could see that. The fact that he didn't go terrorizing other people, but stayed by himself, therein lies the difference. So all that to say, with your sisters, with my
They are
daughter,
not staying by themselves, hiding in a grotto.
and they're not sorry.
No, they're
It's still
neither
the
one
willfulness.
could give a shit.
It's still the willfulness. So whether
They know
demon,
better. They know
there you go. There
everything.
you go.
They're the experts.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? I
So
remember the last
regardless of
time.
what happened, right, it still comes down to that willfulness that was there even before the abuse.
Well, I got to thinking that dad, I mean, they may not be predators
Yeah. No, they're just willful though.
per se, but certainly they embrace that ugliness.
Okay.
They
And the
think
fact,
that's how they're gonna win in life.
there you go. The fact that they
And then
sold,
Mary goes to church and takes communion, and I'm like,
yeah,
you should be fucking slapped just for that.
there you go.
I mean, that's spitting in God's face over and over and over. And she thinks she's pious. I'm like, you're nothing. And then another thing that infuriated me was just how Angie and Mary have treated mom over the years. I mean, they've just tormented her every time mom would go out of her way because that's all mom ever wanted. It was the same thing I did, was for us to get along and be a family, try to be the peacemaker, just like me. That's probably the part, my mom part,
Mhm.
Martha. And one or the other was always a fucking conflict. And anytime I ever put boundaries down with either one of them, that was that. I'm like, oh, so either be abused or have nothing. Well, you know what? I want nothing now.
There you go.
Nothing. I want nothing. You have no advice to give me. No, nothing. Nothing. You have no wisdom whatsoever. And you won't even take suggestion. Unbelievable. It's just furious. So I'm
Well,
sure I'll probably go whack and scream at Ted some more today. But
I had to,
it's like a greater fury than any of the other furies. It's just this betrayal by my sisters.
there we go.
It's like dad, I can comprehend because he's a psychopath. Mom, because she was just whatever. But some reason Angie and Mary just it's more. It's deeper, it's bigger, I can't even explain it. You would think that would be towards my dad, maybe because I've released all of it now. But I'm just I just want to wring their fucking necks. I want them to die.
Well, as you continue to vent, you're gonna get the insight into what it is.
Well, and I was telling Ted as I'm hitting Angie and Mary for them to feel it right now in real time, have a migraine that's just throbbing with every hit. You have a migraine that's throbbing, and let me twist your neck so that your neck is fucked up, and I'm just feel it. It's
There you
just
go. There you go.
furious, furious. We had a chance to fix it and they just couldn't do it. It's just selfishness. Just
Well, they
selfishness.
sacrificed you.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of it that way. I kept thinking betrayal. But yeah, they did. They sacrificed me in that hole. They sacrificed and tortured me on that chair with electricity.
Unbelievable.
And they enjoyed it. Look at her,
Well,
look at
no,
her, look at
they're
her.
fellow perpetrators then.
Yeah. Look at her jump. Look at her squirm. Yeah. I can hear him right now. I couldn't hear it, but now that I'm talking to you, I can hear it. They reveled in it. They just thought it was fucking fantastic. And I remember anytime I ever had to do that to somebody else, that part of me didn't like it.
Yeah.
Didn't like it. I did it. Okay, I'm gonna pretend. Yeah, this is great. But I pretended. I didn't enjoy that shit. But they did. They did. And Dad made them that way.
But it's still a choice. Look at how you,
At
right?
a certain point, it is a
Their
choice.
bottom line. That's what's so difficult about the con to really let sink in. But isn't that true? That's the difference between you and them. You care and they don't.
Well, and it's the fear of God too.
That's right.
Should I choose to splash little girls from head to toe for the rest of my life? God's not going to like that. And it's just dirty water, but he's not going to like it. It's mean, it's cruel, it's selfish, it's self-involved. It's just, and they just don't see it. And that's what gets me about Angie and Mary is they both call each other narcissists, but won't admit that they themselves are narcissists.
There we go.
I'm like, that's awesome, you guys.
And a psychopath will never refer to himself as a psychopath, by the way.
No, no,
The
they
most they'll
don't.
do is they'll say they're somewhat sociopathic. It's very funny. So,
It's just crazy. Oh,
well,
you're
I
at
do
noon.
I just looked at the time, and
Yeah,
that's no commentary. There's no commentary on what you're, no, this has been, I'm taking vicarious satisfaction in hearing what
I'm just furious. And I'm like, kill them now, kill
you're,
them swiftly so they can't fuck with anybody else.
I
I
really
even
think
told God, I wish that if you keep them alive, make them die alone and lonely and never have love again.
there we go, right?
They can die a terrible, lonely, sick-filled, disgusting life. Ugh,
Okay, the power of, again, whether it's a chapter, whether it's just the term, healing uncensored or something, the power of what you're doing, the uncensoring, and that's going to be such an important piece to get across to survivors. And if they can't do what you're doing without any, you've got to be able to do it with abandon.
definitely,
Okay, and that
definitely.
so in whatever way, what you're doing, very few survivors are willing to let loose like that for fear of what's going to come out of their mouth. So just know that
Even as I was saying it, I part my no, that's not right. That's mean. And I'm like, I don't fucking care.
there, okay, it has to be raw. When David says, "I pour out my complaint," that's this guttural, right, experience that you do when you're in TED and stuff, and so, or when you're doing that. So the uncensored part is what is so healing.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't record the last, the hit and talk. I probably should do one of those, but unreal. So
Well,
I'm already like 3 or 4 TEDs ahead of, and I'm like,
you're doing outstanding work, and I'm hoping this thing isn't going to expand the thing I'm doing behind the scenes. It took,
Oh, your response?
well, it took 2.5 days. There's an additional part that I'm adding. Beautiful to say. I'm
Yeah.
getting close.
Have you heard from Emma or anything?
I have not.
Yeah,
So,
because she had another premiere go up, and I thought, well, she could have 10 of them in the pipeline, and they'll just go up automatically. But
uh,
yeah, I haven't heard a whisper from her either.
so
And
I
I'd
text.
like to imagine that she would, if she was in her normal life, she'd be calling me saying, So I don't know. I'm praying for them every night. I
Yeah.
hope they're all right.
Well, let me pray.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Lord, thank you once again that Diana and I can do work together. This so important work, such important work. But Lord, continue to be with her and with all the parts as the parts disclose, and as Diana has to hear what ultimately what she went through, but what all the parts went through. Lord, continue to protect them from spiritual warfare. Lord, if that's what's going on with the computer, I ask that you guide her and you either help the computer work or help her to get one that will be protected from what Satan's trying to do, trying to thwart all this. Lord, thank you for her willingness to be able to speak, to disclose, so that the world may know what's happening behind the scenes. That we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against psychopaths and demonic stuff. So continue to protect her. Lord, protect Chris. Continue to open his heart. And thank you that you have brought them through so much. And thank you for your sustaining grace for her through all this. And continue to help her process the truth about her sisters. Lord, again, thank you that our relationship with you doesn't depend upon anything other than your choice. So thank you for that. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Well, it's Friday, so I'll see you Tuesday.
Tuesday it is.
All
And
right.
keep those cards and letters coming, so to speak, when you get more.
Yeah. Use oil with
Yeah,
your,
I know. I really went for it. So
it burns like hell. Yeah.
I know.
Did that myself. All right. Well, have a great weekend.
Okay, we'll talk next week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Round and round, what comes